record, if this comes out well, and sometimes they do, mostly they don't because they need a lot of editing. But if this comes out well, I'll give you a link to it, and you can, maybe go over it again. I don't know. So, what are the things that are on your mind? What questions do you have? What would you like to have explained or explored tonight? Anyone?
Dave?
Yeah.
This is Greg.
Oops.
Oh, go ahead, David Lee.
Oh, yeah, just a quick question for everybody, actually. Um, I My focus in making furniture is I want to be able to make it modular and adaptable. I want to be able to sort of move it around if I can. So I'm thinking about maybe using some kind of inserts, like building small carcasses and portions, but then be able to just kind of bolt the thing together. Not quite like IKEA, but I mean, just something that I didn't have to take a team of people to move around.
Excellent. I'll definitely go there. My whole, and I guess there might be, if I find them, I'll send it to you, David. My whole thing is, you start with sketch list, and you create a model of what you want to make to any extent you want to make it. I mean, if you want to make it very basic, or you want to make it very detailed, it's all depends on how you build things. But my big goal, I guess, is to create a system where you can make building blocks, and I write a fair amount about building blocks. For example, let me tell you a story. I had a couple. They were in the Midwest somewhere, and he was a carpenter, and came into a business opportunity, sort of. Well, no, really. And in addition to his day job, he started making fireplace surrounds, with the pillars and the crossbar and everything like that. And he had gotten very successful with that. And so he got to the point where his wife was taking orders and doing designs, and he was doing the shop work at night after he left his first job. And they called me one day and said, it occurs to us, the problem we're having is it takes us longer to submit a drawing to someone sometimes than it takes to actually make the thing, and that's our bottleneck. So what we did is we talked a little bit about how you can create a library of objects that are unique to the way that you build, and then when you're putting something together, and I'll share my screen in a second. When you put something together, Sketchlist is really geared for. Let me just figure out share. Okay. Yeah, you can see my screen now, right?
Yep.
All right. So if you took, for example, this box, right, and you're saying, whatever size it is, it's 3624 by 22. And what you can do at a minimum is you can say, in reality, this is a 60-inch carcass, if you would. And you can go in to add objects from the library and say, I want to put in a whatever. I mean, this is just a kind of a junk collection of mine, but I can come in and say, I want to put in this base. I'm kind of making this up on the fly. So I put the base in, and I've got another piece, and all I have to do is align them. So to align them, the tool in Sketchlist for alignment of for location is the blue dot. I right-click that, I copy its values, I come here, and I take that, and I paste the value like that. And then I could take this and, change its size. So it's say 36 like that. And I can even go so far as taking these and let's see. So we left. I can merge. I can merge these two assemblies and then come up with one assembly that's contains the building blocks. So, and you can, with the library, you can save standard objects down to the board level. If you have like a maybe a cove molding or something like that, you make it once, then you bring it in and modify it as you decide or as necessary, and you could make. I mean, honestly, you could make virtually anything. I did a video years back where I took just a box like this one here, and I made it into an entire kitchen in about 12 minutes, because all I was doing was bringing in saved objects and modifying them. So that's how that goes. All right. And we'll get into that. All right. Anyone else have some more questions or?
Hey,
yeah.
George, how are you guys doing tonight?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Hey, so I just picked up the program and I'm getting familiar with it. One question I did have though is a lot of the work that I do is all pressure fit. So I do a lot of dovetail work, and I do a lot of just like custom sized dovetails, and kind of what customer orders are bringing is they might bring in a dovetail that's 15 degrees and then cuts down to 10 degrees at the top and squares off at the edge. Small stuff like that. So my question is, I know the dovetails isn't a option on here, but a lot of the dovetails come from rounded corners. So when I insert a board, let's just say, for instance, let's say a 6-inch wide, 8-foot long piece that's an inch thick, right? At the very edge, I want to add 3 inches that I can fit that dovetail into. That's an extra 2 inches off center on that block. So is there a way to do that? Because I looked at editing points and everything comes out curved for some reason.
Okay. Dovetails are a bit of a sensitive topic in the user community. Some people say, well, I need this, basic, what is it, 6 and 8 degree dovetail thing. And others say, well, no, I don't need that, because all I have to do is take the width of the board and add 3/4 of an inch to it. And because I know how to cut dovetails, and I'm
exactly. So I agree with you on that one. But as far as a user level, so right now I'm creating the designs, but the desired end state is clearly to stop creating the designs and have more of an overhead approach to it, and have someone else create the designs, and to have an employee look at it and not understand that there's a dovetail in the product. That's where my pain point is right now.
I see it. And I spent a lot of time a few weeks ago looking at dovetails, because I'm a real simple dovetail guy. I just run the router through it and I got it, and I'm set. But I wanted to know more about it because I just didn't know, and it's fascinating the way people do dovetails, and I'm just amazed at the accuracy of some of the woodworkers on YouTube can make these things fit together. But I was also like you were just saying, you've got custom dovetails. So when I'm thinking about putting in a dovetail feature, uh, when I hear you say this, and when I watch the YouTube videos, it's just become a lot more complex. I was ready to put on a development schedule like a standard dovetail, 6 degrees, 8 degrees, whatever they are.
Sure.
Um, and then to do the real fancy stuff, as of right now, I would say that's beyond the scope of what we offer. So what my solution would be is our notes. You can, let me pop a board in here, because this is getting us right to where we're going. So
No, I agree with you. I was just wondering if is there a way that we could look for a standard dovetail? And then after that, it's just a question of templating. Like, I can create templates, but I just want to be able to visualize in the project within that assembly that an employee can see this is where a dovetail goes.
Right.
And then they can look at notes for the template that they need to use.
Exactly. Exactly. How big is this board? This board is 12 inches tall. So say I wanted to make it big enough to have some dovetails cut on the top. Oops. All right. Well, what I really wanted was 12 3/4, like this. And I'll get into these tools later. So now you've got essentially an extra 3/4 up there. And then you could put a note in. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not sharing. Am I sharing?
You are.
Okay. You could put a note in here. And notes are actually very powerful, because you can put those out on the cut list and the parts list and so on. And you can say dovetail 10 degrees, or however you want to specify that. So when you get your parts list coming out, you say, well, include the notes. And then the guy who's cutting this says, oh, okay, I got it. I know what that means. And so
Okay.
the difference is we don't represent it visually. And, it would be a time, I don't know. I hate to say this, but it's not a highest priority, because not everybody works with dovetails. But it is a personal priority of mine. Every time I go and I assign stuff to developers, dovetails just at the bottom of that list, I'm sorry to say.
Okay.
All right. But if you're going to work on it, and I'd be happy to hear from you and see what your needs are, because someday we'll do it.
Okay. I appreciate it, Dave.
Okay. Anyone else? Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I do. I'm admittedly an amateur and a beginner at woodworking. My dad did a lot of it, but I'm an engineer, so I like to have drawings that show dimensions and things. And I've been struggling trying to understand how the shop drawings work, and how to get drawings that would I could print out and actually tell me, where does this piece actually need to be installed exactly, from the bottom edge or the top edge or what have you.
I will make absolute certainty that I get there. And if I don't, hold you responsible for saying, wait a minute, because at the end of the meeting, I'll say, did I miss anything? And no, everybody goes, oh, I want to go home, but you got to shout out, no, Dave, you promised to do shop drawings, and here I am. So
All right, perfect.
it's not that difficult. And I think you'll understand it once you see it. The whole thing on shop drawings is, we have the hierarchy in sketch list, and sometimes people, they go into the project level and say, well, I want a detailed drawing of the drawer. Well, you had to be in the drawer level. And I'll show you that.
Okay.
I'll show you that
Okay.
in tonight. All right. Thanks, Dale. Anyone else?
Yeah, Dave, real quick.
Yeah.
First time in many, many years, I actually had a heart failure last night.
Yeah.
Halfway through a project, I went, ugh. The boxes that comes up that says, enter in your information to, report.
Yeah.
I found to be a little vague on 2 of the middle boxes. So
Have you installed the update?
I did before before the failure.
Okay, we put out an update today, and I am told by our testing people that those problems have all been fixed. So,
Okay.
when we're finished or tomorrow, whatever, you get on, download the newest version and try it out. If it doesn't work, call me or text me or something, and I'll get right back to development, because we've been working on fixing that for a while, and they assured me it's fixed.
Okay.
That's the nature of things. Sometimes
Yeah,
somebody
it
does
is.
something a little bit different, and
Yeah.
So-
It's a great product. I love it. And it's just like, oh man.
Well, it's funny. I'd say this for a long time, that people are like, quote, buying software, but honestly, you're buying into, you're kind of buying into a relationship, because we can't do everything perfectly all the time and things go wrong. And if you just communicate, we'll say, all right, well, either we're committed to fix it or we're not. But I'm personally, I'm very committed to fix things. So the communication is, it's key. It's really key. We get so much good feedback in terms of problems and in terms of ideas from users. It's just very rich for us. So do that and let me know for sure.
Okay, we'll do.
And I don't know
Hello?
if you have my phone, but there it is. It's in the chat. And
Yeah, no, I'm muted.
anybody can feel free to call me if you have something to communicate. So any other people want to speak up?
Yeah, Dave, this is Greg Johns. I have a
Yes.
question.
Yeah,
How
great.
you raise your hand?
Yeah, I was working in a drawing that I had done a couple of months ago, and messing around with all the different things that you can do with this. I get amazed, but sometimes I'm amazed myself at how I get caught in a spot and can't get out of it. Right now, I can't click on my chest of drawers on a board to get it to get all the little dots around it where you can stretch it and all that kind of thing. I don't know what I did, but it's not available right now.
Okay, can you see the screen, my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so let's see, where is it? Show resize points.
Okay,
Uh,
that's it.
Let's see, show the resize points. And then, that should be there. Why you're not seeing it?
Well, I probably haven't clicked back in the right place. Then I'll have to try this and see if that's the
'Cause
answer.
that's something that happens just automatically all the time. And, you may have turned it off somehow.
Yeah, I probably did, because I do a lot of messing around with this, and then I find that I can't get particular information to come back up on the screen because I've clicked on something and I don't know. I just enjoy doing it, but I don't enjoy the results.
Like they say up in Maine, you can't get there from here.
Yeah, right. All right.
All right. So anybody else?
Hey, Dave, I just
Hello-
have one
hello?
question.
Yeah. Brian, shoot.
Okay, I got one question about with the last update. I've been getting a lot of crashes when I go back into the same project again, and I've been sending in the bug errors, and I've rolled back to the older version, okay, so that I wouldn't keep crashing. Okay, do you get those bug reports?
Development does, and it's better that way. If I used to, and then I get in the middle of it and I just slow things down. So it goes directly to the technical support manager, and they take care of that. Now, that crashing problem, I am told, is fixed. I have personally never experienced it, so I can't, say that I tested it, but they assure me that it's fixed. So try the update, and if it happens again, please just call me or text or email me at dave@sketchless.com, because if it's not fixed, I need to know. Ronald, what you
I
got?
just want to make sure, I just want to make sure that you're getting it.
Yeah, we are actually. And, sometimes it's like trying to get an appointment with a dentist. You just have to wait a little bit for it to be fixed. Sorry.
I got it.
Randy, answer my phone.
So Ronald, what's
I
your
don't
question?
know.
Ronald? Oops, did I lose everybody?
Tom, and you told me to use the corner cabinet, and I was trying to make a curio cabinet for my wife that fit in the corner. You there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So anyway, I tried using the corner cabinet like you suggested, but my problem was I couldn't scoot the board back far enough for a wider opening.
Hmm.
It wouldn't let me. I could scoot the sideboards, on where it came to the corner, but I couldn't move the corner board or the board, like the bottom board, back to create a wider opening. And I mean, I'm not a high-tech computer guy. I know quite a bit about computers, but sometimes it gets me in trouble. I actually do better at drafting things on paper, but it's come to the day where doing it on the computer is better because you can spit out a cut list and everything like that.
Yeah. You know what? If you would, please go when the next time you're in there, export that project and send it to me, and
Okay.
I'll take a look at it and I'll try to understand, your situation, and I'll get back to you with it. Okay.
Okay.
Send it dave@sketchlist.com.
Okay.
All right.
I can do that.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Manny?
Hopefully you can hear me.
Yeah.
Just a question. Okay, I'm new also here, and I just wanted to ask about curves. Can you add curves to furniture, to wood?
Sure. Yeah, we can do that. There's a certain amount of artisan to that, and I don't qualify as a designer, but I'll show you how you would add a curve or several curves to a piece of board. Okay.
Thank you. Sure.
And again, same thing happens, Manny. If I seem like I'm sliding over it, call me to task and say, hey, we're going to do this.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. That's great. I'm glad you guys are paying so much attention. So what I wanted to do is get back to kind of like basics first, because I find that sometimes people write in or call in and they just they're lacking some essential concepts. So I'm going to spend a few minutes. Going over the idea of Sketchlist, and then probably go through shop drawings and the curves and so forth, and looking at the tools that make things happen. So going back in time, like almost 15 years now, I was doing woodworking, and I needed to have drawings and things like we all do. And I spent a fair amount of time learning AutoCAD and SketchUp, and I was just plain out frustrated. I thought it was not right for me, and they didn't have the reports I needed and so on. So I just started to fool around with an idea that said, as a woodworker, what would I like to see, and what are the sort of essential things we do as people who cut wood? And it really comes down to you take a board, you make it into the correct size, you put it in the right place, and rinse and repeat. Make another board, correct size, the right place. And there are, of course, a lot of details to that, the curve, and joinery and things like that. But you can accomplish an awful lot just by creating a basic model. And we talked about the idea of building blocks. Well, that's where we would go. So I just wanted to get back to basics and say, well, what is a board? A board is a three-dimensional object. It has a height, a depth, and in this case, a width, which is 3/4 of an inch. And if I go to the detail of the board, there's a lot of things we can do with the detail. I should add on that boards have surfaces. There are two surfaces, surface A and B, and there are edges. So if I look at this edge, I can assign joinery to it. So I say, let me put a tenon on there, and I could put, you can spend some time and talk about what the values are, but the default values. So say I was going to have, this is going to be a 4-inch tenon, and I want to center it to fit. So that says there's 2 inches at A, there's 4 inches at B, and there's 2 inches at C. And I say save. So now I've got the tenon. And you can do that. You can do that with all kinds of joinery. The other thing you can do is you can say, I want to put a contour edge on here, and I'm just going to put let's see, put a bullnose. Just accept the defaults like that. So now I've got those two things. And in addition to that, you can shape a board. And Manny, this is your thing about curves. So I go into the shape tool and I say, I want to convert something to a curve. So I grab that edge. Okay, well, what it's saying, and I forgot this, I'm sorry. What it's saying is because there's a joint on this edge, I can't do the curve. I should have done the curve first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get back to that, but I'm just going to pop another board in. And in a bit, I'll show you how the boards come about to be. Okay, so I'm going to take this board and go to a detail level, take either surface, doesn't matter, and shape it. Now what I can do is convert to a curve and take that edge, and you see those tiny little red dots. All you do is you just take that and you drag them out to accomplish your curves. Now, maybe a better way to do that would be, I'm going to insert a point like this. So I'll insert a point. I've gone up to the right side there and picked add a point there, add a point here. Now I'm going to go back to convert to a curve and take this red dot. And you see that I've got the curve, but I have sort of a squared off area there. What you can't do, or you have to plan ahead. I can't go out here because it's going to say, no, the curve you want to make is bigger than the board is. And because of that, you can't do it. But that's it. And then if I say, I could do some other shaping, I could come in here and add some points. I could add points and say, put a point there, put a point there, and then delete a point. If I delete that, that's a 45-degree angle because it's 2 up and 2 over, right? And again, I could take that, I think I can, take that straight line and make that into a curve. And there are, to be honest with you, I don't know enough about this stuff, but you can specify where the bottom value of that is. The bottom of value, this is 10, and check that like that. And there you go. So, oops, sorry, I'm excluding someone. So that's it. Then you say save, and you look, and there's your curve. Now, Manny, is that right for you? Is that what you were thinking about, or?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you can do all kinds of things. I actually talking about the dovetails. I actually spent a fair amount of time doing the dovetails using the shape tool, and I would highly advise against it. It's just, it takes a lot of time. But I can come here and take that beginning and say I want to put a hole in there, and I'm going to put that. So point A is, say, 5. Point B is 3, and that takes me to the center of the hole. The diameter is 2, and the depth is 3/4, and save. So those are the kinds of things you can do with a board. Now, I come back to the assembly level. You see that I was able to put some detail on that board, some holes and things. I was able to put the contour on it, and I was able to put the tenon on that. So that's, those are the board detail levels. And you can go in there, and I could put an individual hole, and then I can clone that hole. So if I had a cabinet side and I wanted to put holes in for pegs for shelving, you could do that and say, now that I've made 1/4 inch hole, I want to have 12 of them, and I want them 2 inches apart. And it'll just spray up a whole series of holes for you. And again, getting back to the building block approach, you could take this, and I could add that to the library if that's something that I'm using all the time. And just not have to do that work again. So we have boards, and we have that amount of detail available to us. But the real trick is there's 2 steps. It's to size a board and then to locate it. So if I pop in another board, let's say the bottom board, okay, and these are the tools of Sketchlist. There are only 3 tools that do everything. So if I want to have that butt up against this, what I would do is select that blue dot and copy the values 18 1/4, 5 3/4, and 5, and then take this and right click that and paste those in there, and you see it's popped right in there. And I could do that again here. Say I want to copy those, and I want to take that and paste it, and there you go. So that's really what we're doing, is we insert something. In this case, we're inserting boards, and then we size them the way we want them, and then we locate them where they have to be. So say I could take that board, and on the right-hand side of the screen, I'm going to click the clone button, and just look up here. And the top of this board is 17 3/4. So I'm going to make the top of this board 17 3/4 from the bottom, like that. Now I look and say, well, row, I'm going to have to take this and just push it back a bit so it fits in there. I mean, I'm just kind of like freewheeling here, but it reminds me of the kind of project you do in high school woodshop, right? You take home, or 8th grade workshop, you take it home to your mom and say, oh, look, I got you a shelf. And she goes, oh, yeah, it's fireplace. Anyway, so that's the whole thing. You're working with boards, you size them, you locate them, and that's it. And that's what allows you, let's see, where am I? Okay, that allows you to make things. Now, one of the ways to manage, one thing that Sketchless does that allows you to manage this is it has this concept of containers. So I'm going to say I want to add an assembly, and it's going to be, and this is the calculator in Sketchless. It's 3 columns and 3 rows that can size and locate any object in 3 dimensions. So say this is going to be 18 inches. When I enter the 18, you see it can be up from the bottom or it can be down from the top. So I'm going to say down from the top. So the top now is 18. The width, let's say the width is going to be 4, 12, and the same thing. And I want that from the left. And then finally from the front, I want 3 inches, shoving that to the back. And all I'm doing is I'm creating this assembly in which I'm going to insert boards. And there it is, okay? Now, in order to insert boards, and I should stop and say, the advantage of having these containers called assemblies is it will allow you to take all of the elements or objects within the container and treat it as one object. So I can take this and just stretch it over there a bit, and you see that the internals have been changed dynamically. It doesn't make much sense with my wonderful design, but for a standard cabinet, and getting to David's point where you have a library, if I brought something in for my library or create something, I just have to create it once. And we're going to do that, and I'll show you then how that goes in the library. I'm going to keep that. So I want to add a sideboard to the assembly. So in order to do that, up on the upper left-hand side, there's an icon that says add board. And again, the board is the most basic building block. And there are 5 pieces of information: a name, left side in this case. Where do I want to insert it? Well, I can either put it into the right assembly or into this thing called assembly, and I choose that. If there were lots of containers like drawers and doors and so on, they would all be listed here, and you could say, I want to put it in that particular door or drawer or whatever. So you have a name, you have a location, and then you pick a material. So I'm going to take this oak material like that. So those are 3 of the pieces of information. The 4th piece is what's its size? Well, for a sideboard, if you think about it, that looks like a sideboard. Its thickness is the thickness of the plywood, and the thickness runs right to left. And then the height, if I look at the assembly in the spreadsheet, I see the height of the assembly is 18. So I can say 18. And the depth of the assembly is also 18. So I can say 18 there. And I assign the grain direction. So this says my sideboard looks like this. It has a thickness of 3/4, which is the material thickness, and it has a height and depth of 18, which is the size of the assembly. Okay, and that's it. Now, optionally, I could say I want to put this an inch to the left and say 3/4 of an inch from the front, because I want to put some face frame on there. And there's my board. Okay. Now, if I want to work on the boards in that assembly, I have to go into the assembly level. And I have the board, and there are a whole series of tools that help you continue building. So here I'm going to say clone and mirror, which makes an exact copy of the first board, but it flips it. So if I had, say I had a mortise running here, on the flip, it would be on the inside. Or if I had shelf holes for the pegs, they would be on the inside with a clone and mirror. So I have the two boards, and I'm going to insert another board. So I could just come up here, insert a board, and this would be called bottom. Same assembly, same material. And I say this a lot, it doesn't matter too much. The bottom board is going to be 3/4 of an inch, because that's the thickness of the material, and the depth will be 6. And I just do that because I don't like to think that much. The grain direction is going to run this way. The left edge of that board is going to be 3/4 of an inch, so it can clear that sideboard. And the front will be 3/4, so it can fit the face frame. And on the bottom, say I put that at 4, like that. Now, okay, I did 3/4, but I forgot that I put it in like an inch. So what I'm going to do is look here and say, if I see on the right-hand side, the spreadsheet, the right side of that board is 1 3/4. So I should have made this left be 1 3/4. And again, I turn this, and the options for changing things turn out to be green buttons, and I'm going to shift it over that way. Now what I can do is just take this red dot, hold down the shift key, snap it over until it snaps. Quick check. The left of that is 10 1/4. The right of that is 10 1/4. Perfect. The back of this is 18 3/4. So I come here and say this is 18 3/4, and I got my shelf. Is there a question there?
Yeah, Dave, on your board thickness,
Yeah.
if the library is listed at a 3/4 inch thick board,
Yeah.
and my actual usage is a 1/2 inch, will it accept it, or does it not like it because of the different size values?
It'll accept it. And then what happens when you run your optimizer, you'll get a warning that the cut size of that board is less than the material size of that board. Which,
Okay.
if you're dealing with solids, might be legitimate, because maybe you're going to plane that board down to a 1/2. With plywood, not so much, but it'll accept it, and it'll give you a warning.
Okay, that's what I had too last night. So, okay, thanks.
Okay. And then let's come here. And again, a lot of the efficiencies are from tools. So I look there and I say the top of that is 18. So I'm going to clone and space these from the bottom. And I'm going to have 2 equally distributed, so it's going to figure out the spacing such that the top of this is going to be 18, because that's the top of the sideboards, right? And I clone that, and oops, and there it is. So now I've got kind of a basic carcass or structure or something. And here's where you can go in and at the project level, I'm gonna have to, whoa, that wasn't very good. My mouse is disobeying me. And just as I was trying to correct it, it fell to the floor. So you have, if you go to the project level and you take that, oops, I hit something. Take this. Now I can say add to the library, and I could put some notes and things like that and save it. And however you build this with whatever joinery or detail that you want, that'll come out in the when you call it in to use it again. And I'll show you that in a minute. It's taken a second to. Here we go. Okay. Now what I can do I could take this and then say, gosh, this mouse is just awful. I think it has something to do with all the oil on it. Okay, let's see. So if I go here now and say I want to add something from the library, I go down and pick that which we just created and add it. And there, there's your building block approach. So I could take that and copy its value, just like I did before. Take this and paste its value. Like that. And of course, the separation there is because of that inch that I had in there. But then you can take this and change its top to be 60, for example. And then you've got another configuration of that design. Okay. So obviously the boards are important. And so we talked about how to create a board, how to detail a board, how to size and locate a board. And then this idea that you have containers. The most substantial container, of course, is the project, but you have containers called assemblies. And then within the assemblies, you have containers called doors and drawers. So if I did that, I could just come up here and say, I want to add a drawer. The bottom would be 4 3/4, I'm guessing. And the height will be 6 inches. And I'm going to change the top like that. Then the left will be, what was it, 1 3/4. Width will be 12. And the right will be that, like this. And the front will be 3/4. Depth will be, say, 8. And the back. Now what happened is I've got a drawer
There we go.
in that assembly. I guess I kind of missed it a bit. So I can do the thing where I do the blue dots and bring the drawer. Oh, I put it into the wrong assembly. You've noticed that. I wanted to put it in the other assembly.
Do what?
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, I put it in the wrong assembly, but now we have a drawer, and what I can do is I can take this take its blue dot value from that, copy that, apply it, take this, paste it, and that falls into place there. Okay. And then it's like rinse and repeat. What we're going to do is we'll go into the drawer, and now we're going to insert a board, which is exactly what we've already done. And you see here, there's the drawer I want to put it in. Call it panel. But to make it out of the solid lumber stuff. And then this can be the size of the drawer box. So I look and it's 12 inches wide. And I'm taking that right off the spreadsheet down below. And here's 3/4, which in the case is the thickness. The width is going to be the grain direction. And yeah, sorry, got the wrong thickness. The rule in Sketchlist is everything has to fit onto the material it's being cut from, and that obviously wasn't. So if I come back to the assembly, you see there's my drawer. You do the exactly same thing with the door. All right. So you're creating a container to organize and hold the boards. You put the boards into the container, you size them, you locate them, and to the extent that you want, you provide details to them. And then you're all set. And really, there are a lot of tools, like I could take things and I can clone them and clone and space them and such. But what you've just seen, in my opinion, allows you to design pretty much anything you want to design. The tools, the utilities and things are just there to make it a little bit quicker for you, a little more efficient. So we're running then to the reports. Simplest report is the cut list, which hobby users have. And what it does is and again, it's integrated. So if I go into the design and I change any of these sizes, it automatically updates this report. You don't have to do anything. It'll show you here what assembly we're putting these things into. If there's a sub-assembly like drawer, part name, cut size, material, and material name. And you can print that, or you can put it out to an Excel spreadsheet or whatever. On the pro side, you have parts list report, which beyond giving you the basics of a cut list, you have access to every piece of information in the database. So if you wanted to, for some reason, have a report about holes, I guess, you could just pick the hole height and its size and so forth, and report on that. And as I mentioned earlier, you can put in the notes. So you can, you can inform somebody that might be working on that if there are any special conditions on that. The next report that I'll look at is the shop drawing. And that's actually under Tools, Shop Drawing. And I want to change this up. I want to take that and go to the assembly level. Now, just to explain, I generated a shop drawing at the project level, and I'll do that. Shop drawing new. What you're going to see is a two-dimensional drawing, and you can change the view. So I can change this to the top or bottom or whatever, and you see it. Okay, front like this. And the only thing that you can't get into these assemblies at this level. You're at the project level. So there's two tools. There's a line tool, So if I take that, and this is just telling me the size of the assembly. Doesn't do anything more than that. And I could take this and put it up there and so forth. And then I have a pointer that says, what's the distance saved from here? Oops. Here to there. And that's 9 inches effectively. And if you wanted to, if I took the arrow and I could make it, I could flip that so it tells me the angular distance between those, or I could even flip it out and it would tell you that distance. So that's the basics of the drawing tool. So what I do is get out of there. No, I don't want to save that. And then if I go into the assembly level like this and do tools, shop drawing new, like that, it's the same idea. But now I can actually go in and I could take this board, take that board, take this board, take any board, and I can show that. I can come in here, I promise you, and show that. I could go into an individual. I could go to an individual board and show you the thickness of that board and so on. And you can make as many drawings as you want, and you might, focus on one area and then make another drawing of the same view and focus on another area so you can grab more details. Did someone have a question in the middle of that?
Hey, Dave. Yeah, I have a question. So I love that functionality. When you actually do the measurement on that, is there any way that you can include, is there a function to include the angle if you're doing from a diagonal from an x-axis to a y or something like that?
No, there's not. And that's the kind of thing that I really, really want to have. I want to have it here, and I want to have it in the shape tool, and that's probably it. I'm sorry to say this, but it's. I hate to say this, but it's just lower in the priority list. That we've got other things to chase down. But
I hadn't seen it, so just wondering if it was there or not.
Yeah, no, it's not. Okay, thanks for asking. And then when you go to print your reports, reports, shop drawings, you'll get this, and you will pick the type of orientation you want. Here it is, landscape. And you pick the container that you want to make the drawings from, and you just say next. Then if you have multiple drawings from one container, you'd have a list here, and you say, well, I want to draw that one, preview and print. And there it is. And you see there's headers, the project name, the date, kind of repetitious here, but you could have the customer name or whatever on that drawing. Another question?
Yeah, I have one. You there?
Yep.
Okay. So down in the cut list, like you add a board, and for some reason you look down the cut list and all of a sudden it's in red. So how do you correct that without throwing off the whole design?
In the cut list, Or
Yeah, like if you had a board and all of a sudden a few of the lines in the cut list go to red, which I'm assuming that it means it doesn't jive with the rest of the design. How do you correct that without throwing off the whole design?
well, I ask you, is it the cut list or is it the optimizer?
It's in the cut list. Like you're just designing the project, and you put in a board, and then you look down. All of a sudden, there's two lines that are in red, or one line that's in red.
You know, Ron, the next time you see that, if you could grab a screenshot of it, because
Okay.
in all of this time, I've never seen that. But you know, it just means I haven't stumbled upon it yet. So if you can make that happen, grab a screenshot and send it into me. I'll try to reproduce it. Okay, I don't know the answer to your question.
Okay.
Yeah, Dave, Ronald, are you talking about down in the general spreadsheet?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Okay.
not right down here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, you've done. So if you do something like say left is say height is going to be 65 to the top. Oh, well, that's a bad example, but it does mean that. It means that that board that you put in is it's too big for the assembly, essentially. I've got mine set up so it's forgiving and it increases the size of an assembly to make that. But that's a very bad idea. I should not have it that way because you never know then when you're making a mistake. So if that comes up red, what you do is take a look at the board and compare it to, like in this case, right is 45 and right is 10. So that's all right. Top is 18, top is 11. That's okay. Back is 21, 18, and that's okay. But if it comes up red, it means that one of the pieces is gone outside of the assembly or even the project, and you just look at it and you say, "Well, I see, I made that board too wide." Or the other source of a problem in that area is that you might have selected the wrong direction to be the thickness. So you'd have a thickness of, instead of 3/4, you might have a thickness of 24 inches. You just look at that and say, that's just wrong.
Yeah.
So that's the answer for that. And thanks for making the discovery that it was the spreadsheet, not the report.
Yeah. How do you show dados?
Dado? All right.
Yeah.
So you go to the board level. So I come here. Oops, where'd my board go? There's my board. Oh, all right. When you come back from the shop drawings, it's always in the front view. So what I want to do is take that surface and say holes or dado, because dados are really kind of a halfway hole. And if I wanted that to be up 3 inches, and I want to start it back 2 inches, like that. I want this to be rectangular. The height is, say, 3/4. The width is going to be 16, like that. And the depth will be, say, 3/8. Okay. Now you can save that, and there it is.
But that's in the shop drawing?
Yeah, that'll be in the shop drawing.
Okay.
Shop drawing, new. Yeah, there it is. Now what I could do is change this to the right view. And the same rules apply. If I want to have from this point to that point, that's 2 inches. Okay, if I want to figure out this line, I think, yeah, that's 3/4.
But I guess what my question about that was you designed the data in the shop drawing, not in the project view.
No, I did it in the project view.
Okay, all right.
Okay, no, let me show you. There it is.
Okay.
Okay, and the way that I did that was I selected this surface in the detail mode and I put in a dado. So I go to dado on the surface. And what I want to do is I want to say this dado is going to be 12 inches from the bottom, and it's going to be right from the edge. The height will be 3/4. The width is going to be
Right.
the full size of the board. The depth is whatever it is, 1/4 or 3/4, or no, 3/8. It can't be 3/4 because it would cut the board in half. You get an error. And there it is.
Okay.
Got it?
All righty.
All
Thank you.
Sure. And then finally, the last thing in terms of reports is the optimized layout. And what this does is it takes your parts and lays them out on either plywood or solid lumber. And there's a couple different ways to use it, or filters. So I can say, well, I'm not going to do solid lumber in this cut. And in sheet goods, today I'm just going to cut the oak. I'm sorry, the maple. So I cut the maple and I'm all set to go. Pull this aside, you can see more values and just say optimize. And this gives you the layouts of the cuts. And you can you can ask it to show the cut locations, so you know where you're going to cut them on your saw. You can change the kerf if you want to, if you're running like a CNC machine and you have a 1/4 inch router bit in there. From here, you can export to DXF if in fact you're running a CNC, and it'll put out the files necessary to import to something like VCarve. Material report. Oops, no, I didn't want that. I want purchase list. And if I take, I'm just gonna material name, thickness, width, and units, and put that on the purchase list. And I should put cost per unit, cost per unit, and then just generate it. And it will tell you how much of what you need to buy. Had I put in the database, if I put in that these sheets are $100 each, it would say, 100 times however many sheets were needed. And that's it. So that's what else did we do? Shop drawings, dovetails, curves, modular function. I think we got it all. And there it is. So if you have any other questions, I'm happy to hang around for a little bit. Anything that else you want to know, or that, I don't know, you'd like to see, or whatever. All set?
Yeah.
All right, then it's.
Thanks a lot, Dave.
You're welcome. You're all welcome. This is what we call officially here Miller time, and it's going to be the end of our day. Miller time. Thanks for coming by. If you have anything that you want to know about here.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dave.
Put my number up there. Give me a text or give me a call. I'm happy to talk about this anytime.
Thanks, Dave.
One quick question, Dave.
Yeah.
Hey, do you have some sort of exchange where like everybody who creates something, well, it's not going to be the more commercial stuff. It's going to be more like the hobbyist.
You mean like a sharing project kind of thing?
Yeah, is there something like that, like on
I've worked
socials or
on it
anything?
over the years. I've tried it 2 or 3 different times, and it sounds like a great idea. And very, very few people contribute.
I am. Is something wrong?
I would like to do that. I'd like to be able to say
He hasn't plugged his phone. He says it's messed
that,
up the lines in his suit.
that we have that. But we don't have that right now.
Oh, okay. Well, just keep us updated if you ever have one. Sounds like fun.
Definitely. If I do it, it's going to get some publication. All
Hey,
right.
Dave.
Hey, Dave, if you're recording this, is there going to be a link to this meeting?
You know what? If I look at the recording and it's not awful, I'll publish it. But sometimes, well, I can put a link up to it for sure.
Much appreciated. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yeah. If that,
This is Jeff. I have a question.
yeah.
I have Sketchlist and I still haven't been able to open a program. It keeps on crashing on me.
Yeah.
You guys give me I received one that was supposed to the beta site one, and it still doesn't work.
Are you on the Mac?
Yeah, I'm on a Mac. Yes, it's been and I try reloading it and it keeps on crashing.
All right.
What I used of it, the little bit I used of it, I loved it because I made a bunch of carts for my shop.
Yeah.
It worked perfect. I was able to, I took it to my shop. I took the cut list and went in there. Within a couple hours, I had it all done. My wife goes, "How'd you get it done so fast?" I said, "Because I had by using SketchUp, I was able to create it. It took me longer to create it, but when I went to the shop, it was really quick."
Yeah. That's great. So, Jeff, I'm going to send a text over to support and tell them that that you're still having that problem. Now, again, I was told today that problem's fixed, and you might just try downloading it now and seeing if that's better. If it's not, send me an email or a text, and we'll get back on it. Okay.
What should I do? Because since I'm in a trial yet, I haven't purchased it yet. I was trying to try it out before I bought it. That's
Sure.
why I asked that question.
No, just let us know. If we fixed it, we'll let you know, and hopefully you'll see we fixed it.
Okay.
And if not, I certainly.
How do I reload it back onto my system? Should I take it totally off my system, and then, or do I have to just take that link that you guys gave me and try doing that?
Let me check, and someone will get back to you tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, Dave. Well, thank you
I
very
don't
much.
know the real answer to your question.
Yeah. Overall, I'd love to what you guys have and stuff like that. It looks really beneficial for what I want to use it for. So
Super. I'm glad. Now we had to get it working, right?
yeah, just get it working and I'll be happy then.
That's right. That's right. It's like, man, that's a lovely looking car, but it doesn't start.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks, Dave.
All right. See you guys. Take care. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Dave.
They're in town.